Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai. This is day number 2, and we are going to be finishing up the group phase pretty quickly here. Only a couple matches left, guys.
2, actually.
Yeah, well, that's what a couple is. A couple is specifically 2 matches, so there we go. Solar versus herO, and then, of course, Byun versus Maru, but first, Solar versus herO, guys.
Yeah, a rematch that we saw earlier, and it was Solar that was able to prevail. Some very interesting games in a way. Like, it's very rare to say that herO's execution is not on, it's like subpar, I guess, is one way to say it. And that was the case. You know, he lost a bunch of prisms, 2 stand out, one with 2 Archons in it, and the other one, I think it was maybe, might have been some Adepts, but very uncharacteristic mistakes, and hopefully for herO, if he can solve these execution problems, if he can do a little bit better with that. Build otherwise, he was all right. Look, a lot of ideas were good. I like the Colossus idea, actually, in the last game.
I feel like, though, on the other side, if you're Solar and you've already played against herO in that kind of series, you're figuring out how herO is playing on the day, right? And eventually, when herO is throwing out these kind of more gimmicky styles and plays, eventually a Zerg is going to get more and more solid against that and just move into the mid game in like a stronger position.
All right, so you think Solar's going to bring this defensive wall that herO's Adepts, specifically probably his Adepts, right, won't be able to get in and abuse?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like going to be keen defending like whatever Protoss throws at Zerg in the starts, and if Solar's on top of his scouting, if he does that well, he's going to be propelling himself in the mid game in the good position. But herO's very good at making the most of his units that are out very often. And I think he's actually, he would have preferred playing Su. I was talking to him when Solar was playing Su. He's like, Solar is way too strong in ZvP. I would much rather play Su. So I told him, well, Su doesn't really lose before the finals. Still didn't really seem to mind too much playing against Su. So I think he's definitely going to this match thinking that Solar is the toughest matchup that he's going to have here.
I could absolutely see why as well when you think about it, right? Like, Solar is someone who actually innovates a lot. He's a very creative Zerg, and that's not really attributes that we give to Su quite as often. So I feel like that kind of helps against the scrappy style of herO that Solar can kind of, you know, play off the cuff and, you know, stay standing. Even like, for instance, the game on Sequencer, or Sequencer, as Pig would call it. He loses his main hatchery to DTs. He's taken tons of damage, but he makes it a close game.
And there's a very real possibility that this series has actual implications on the WCS standings. herO at the moment being 7th with 4,700 points. If he's not gathering more points than going beyond into the round of 8 here, Solar, etc., and other people could quite easily be threatening to go into the top 8, which is a big deal.
Solar is actually, that's the best word to describe it. He's one of those guys that's threatening to try and move further. He's just right outside the top 8, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind, you know, going to the global finals. So important matchup here between these two, and I really hope for herO, you know, he's getting his head right, because I really feel like for Byun, that's kind of what happened earlier. Like, the entire day, I saw him bantering around with Maru, and I was like, I really feel like Byun's already broken before the match even starts, and then he plays against Maru, gets smashed. So sometimes you let it a little bit too much get to your head, who your nemesis is, how bad or how well you're doing in a certain matchup, and then it really plays and shows in these matches.
Well, I think that herO can keep his cool pretty well. You know, he's been here so many times. He's the most experienced Intel Extreme Masters player in the field. He's won 3 of them, so I mean, I still feel like he can make it through here, you know? He's such a hot Protoss right now, and I mean, for all the Protoss people out there.
That lady, in the front row with the Protoss cap. What's going to happen if he loses? She's going to throw that on the floor and say, I'm switching to Zerg.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's a Zerg hat available. I have the Terran and Protoss ones, but I haven't been able to find a Zerg, so she better keep that hat on.
A shirt, maybe.
Yeah. All right, guys, it is time to throw it over to our casters. Roddy and Pig, let's do it.
Thank you so much, Artie McTilsis. I am ready. Hopefully these games are a little longer than the first 2 games we casted the last time, Pig, as I don't want any 3-minute matches anymore. It's the last Protoss of the tournament. Representing Root, spawning in the right bottom side of Blood Boil, a map that used to be very gnarly. These days, not that much. It's herO.
Wants to get his revenge here. Did fall in a narrow 1-2 loss before, of course. Facing off against him again in the top left, representing Splice, it is Solar.
I'm excited for this series pick. I really enjoyed the first series, even though I wasn't casting it, but I think I was watching it from the desk. That first game was awesome. You know, I said like, herO,
Yeah.
I know he was dirty, but that game, listening to some Kanye West, and he just became disgusting. But it was fun to watch. He got himself very far ahead, somehow got himself in a lot of trouble. And Stott said as well, lost a few too many prisms. A lot of people, I think, they underestimate the impact it has of losing a prism. You know, they think, like,
Yeah.
it's 200 minerals. It's not just that. It takes the tempo out of the game. It takes your momentum out of the game. And often the most important thing of all is that the moment you're rebuilding prisms, you're not getting immortals. And immortals are really good against pretty much everything that Zerg has, other than Broodlords. So you just want to get that immortal count up eventually, because as long as you can keep those safe, you know, they're fantastic units with those barriers. So obviously herO needs to be more on point and a little less sloppy.
Especially here on Blood Boil. I mean, there's so many ledges, there's so many angles your Warp Prism can come from where they can be really effective. The moment you lose that, you lose a lot of the ability to pressure and keep your opponent back on their side of the map. Interestingly, Solar here going to be opening up with a 3 hatchery before pool, going for a fast gas with that as well. So super economic opening, going to be really focused on just building up that economy as hard and fast as possible. And I'm not sure if herO actually scouted at all this game. I feel like he didn't send a probe out.
Nope. He's living dangerous, Pig, and that's the way I like it as well. It is interesting, though, to see him expand where he's actually expanding. This is not that common. Obviously, you do have 2 assimilators to work with here rather than the one that you have in your pocket expand. But the pocket expand has a few extra minerals, and these days, a lot of the Protoss players, they love them Zealots, Pig. So even though you only have like 1 last gas, it's not necessarily that bad. If you would open up with, let's say, a Robo, you get a fast charge. Maybe if you have gas for it, you get a +1 as well. But that's not going to be the case. We have a little look at the first-person view of Solar. Makes me dizzy, Pig. They're too fast.
Yeah, it's actually insane the level of mechanics these guys have. Adjusting the Overlord, of course, they're trying to get vision at the front while just micromanaging every single worker that's popping out and constantly spending the money. And it is kind of interesting because there's so many options on these maps we talk about. And whenever herO's in the game, I kind of feel like he's just going to make Oracles and Adepts every single time, no matter what. Yeah, he'll probably go into Immortals and Charizards and Archon later, but I feel like he always tends
Phoenix.
to... Ooh, go for that, except right now.
I mean, every now and then there is a weird build. I don't think that's going to be happening this time, but some Protoss players, they open up with a Phoenix and they be like, hey man, it's just a Phoenix build, and then the one Phoenix kills the Overlords, and then suddenly it's like, surprise, 3 or 4 Oracles with mass Adept. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case here. There's still plenty of good Phoenix builds out there, but I've seen Solar play quite a bit against Phoenix builds, and I think he's very comfortable with it. He just goes up to, let's say, like 47, 48 rounds, makes a lot of Lings and Banes, and it's going to make it very hard for the pros to go up to 3 bases. Now, of course, this is a different map, and if herO already has this base, it's very easy for herO to go up to 3 bases. Even if he has 1 gas left, what he will have is an insane amount of minerals, so maybe some Phoenix, Archon, Zealot spam, I wouldn't hate it.
That's actually really cool. Yeah, even potentially going into Glaive Adepts wouldn't be too bad, but I like that you pointed that out. You know, the classic weakness of the Phoenix opening, can you rush a 3rd base? Normally, there's no way to safely get that 3rd base out very fast, but here, knocks the rocks down, takes that 3rd, Phoenix on the way, and he's just going to be going for this non-stop harassment. You know, Phoenix, much more of a slow burn than something like Oracle harassment, where it gets in there, tries to kill a bunch of drones, and then it kind of fizzles out. The Phoenix is just going to constantly be able to find those angles. There's no point where the Phoenix stops being able to do damage.
Yep. If the Oracle is a wasp or a bee, the Phoenix is a mosquito. Doesn't hurt that much at once, but they become really annoying over time.
Oh yeah, it gets really itchy once those Phoenix have been flying around for a couple of nights, buzzing around your ears.
So we're gonna get a Robo, Twilight, and a Forge. Now, obviously, I agree with you. I think Adepts is all right, and we know that herO loves his Adepts, so I'm absolutely not gonna say that you're wrong. But I have the feeling that we might see some +1 Zealot spam, and I really think that would be excellent. And then you can use the additional gas that you don't spend on any more Phoenixes, maybe into some Archons. And I think that kind of stuff is very powerful if you get a quick +1.
I got to agree. If you're going for the Forge, I mean, it's a bit late to go for Adepts at this point. I would be super surprised if he went for Resonating Glaives. Phoenix going to keep finding not only drones, but they're also going to try and get a Queen. Solar trying to focus fire that Phoenix. All the Phoenix escape. Very well done.
That is actually a lot harder than it seems. He is still going for Glaives though, so it's a lot later. And I agree with you. I think this is a little uncommon almost these days for the European Protoses. Maybe we'll see some double Prism action later on as well, because that is a lot of gateways. I hear Letut from here to the casting desk, to the green room where casters is sitting right now.
I'm not really sure why you'd go for +1 here though, because it doesn't help against Zerglings or Banelings. Yeah,
and buildings, actually. It makes a pretty big difference on buildings.
That's true, I guess.
I think it's weird. I agree with you. I expected Zealots here as well, but who are we to question herO pick?
All right, we'll do some analytical videos and crunch the numbers a little bit later to figure out exactly why you'd go for that upgrade. Of course, it will help the scaling against Hydras as well as the game goes on, but for now, it is just going to be a mass gateway explosion. Does Solar have any idea about this gateway count?
I don't think he does, because it's so hard to scout, obviously, against Phoenixes, and he knows that as well. But I don't think that Solar was born last night, and I'm sure that he's expecting quite a few units to be making their way across the map. Yeah, he's going to get a couple of adapts for free here. Kind of odd to see 4 adapts in the middle of the map. Obviously, Solar is going to have a couple links out there. Actually, 2 sentries in the main.
Force field
Prism
on the ramp, but the Prism goes down. Oh, okay. That actually is completely fine for Solar. Yeah, these Adepts are going to be annoying. They'll get a Queen or 2, but with no reinforcing warp ins, this is just a couple of Adepts.
Why doesn't he at least drop 1 more force field? He had the energy for it. I really think that herO could have just dropped another force field. Instead, he's going to go for the drones here. But these Adepts, how long can they survive? As a couple of Banelings did more defensively as well. This is some all-right damage, but you just have the feeling that it could have been so much more.
Yeah, if that Warp Prism was still alive, warping in units, this could have been a completely different story, but Solar, with the great focus fire, shuts it down. And now, I mean, that just chops herO off at the knees. You can see, he knows it's not going to work to just keep going with another Warp Prism. Yes, he's built another Warp Prism. Yes, he can pressure with it, but he's changing up his tech. +2's on the way, Charge, Immortals, Templar, Archives. The big question, though, is how does he get a 4th base? Where does he take it? Because his tech is so far behind.
Does he even want to get a 4th base? I mean, it would be quite hard. I think there's a chance he might try to do damage one more time. If the Queens are a little bit out of position, if the Hydras are not grouped up, these are Adepts in this Prism, not Zealots. If this would have been Zealots and you start working on this hatchery, maybe you could do a little bit of damage, but 5 Zealots I don't think it's going to be enough, especially since Charge is not done yet. herO, you're just going to bleed out units right now. The Phoenixes are being annoying in the main, but that's 500 minerals down the drain.
herO told me yesterday when I asked him, I said, you know, are you going to keep doing your aggressive styles or are you going to just, you know, try and macro? He said he was going to macro, but
you believe the pro player pick?
I'm pretty sure he was lying to me, man, because he is just going crazy aggression. And it's not working out at all. Solar's just slapping it down.
It made it look sort of close in this game, but the biggest problem is that Baneling speed is down, +2 is well on the way. There's plenty of Hydras out already for Solar, and herO, his Storm is not done yet. I think the very first attack that Solar is going to make is going to do a lot more damage than all these tiny attacks that herO has made so far.
Part of me kind of wishes that herO went for that back 4th base, even though I believe it only has 1 gas geyser.
Yeah.
Just because I think this front base will be so hard to defend. But herO's making a statement here. He's saying, I am going to try and take the full base at the front. If I get that up, I'm going to have a great economy. And I think the game is going to rest on that. He needs to try and buy time with this Warp Prism. Yeah. Every second he buys, every bit of damage, every little distraction he causes buys more time for Storm to finish and his energy to build up on his High Templar back home.
Yep, he's got 4 Templars out right now. He's warping in a 5th one, but it seems like Solar's had enough. herO, you need to harass a little bit more. I totally agree with you. That Warp Prism right now is normally the saving grace. Prism, actually Storm is not even being chronobus. He has a lot of extra probes in the main. He could transfer that to the 4th base, but this Baneling count is going to be very high. herO is aware of it. I mean, he needs the best Storms ever. He needs a couple of overcharges too, but the big problem is, Pick, he doesn't have Archon.
Oh man, he already lost a High Templar at the front just to a couple of Zerglings there. Great start to this here for Solar.
Prism is being annoying. That's a lot of Zealots on the natural of Solar. It's actually going to force the majority of the army back. Split those Zealots a tiny bit. I mean, this is still all right, though. He's buying time.
That's just minerals, so valuable to pull him back there. Solar asking for a pause. We are going to have to just put that on hold for a moment. But this game really is heating up. We are coming to the pinnacle of this game where herO basically has to defend this push. And Solar, I mean, he's looking very frightening. A mass of Hydra Baneling knocking on the door.
But it's still a game, and that's something that actually didn't look like it anymore after a couple of Zealots got picked off and that Prism got shut down. At one point, you started to get very, very worried because it felt like herO was falling too far behind. I don't think that's necessarily the case. He's down 26 army supply. So obviously, if herO messes up once, Banelings roll in, connect with Templars, it's game over. Don't get me wrong, that can absolutely happen. But if he lands a good storm, has overcharged, I think a few defensive force fields.
Yeah, force fields will be key.
Yeah, and if he survives a wave, I mean, the Immortal count, he's building 2 at a time. He's going to get more storms.
Start warping a couple Archons in as well. Yeah.
So then it's still possible, but it all comes down to execution and the defensive ability of herO. We know that he's very good aggressively, even though I think this game there were some moments where he could have done more.
Well, we're gonna have to see if IEM Prince herO can make a nice appearance there. I love some of the cheerfuls we've been seeing throughout the crowd here at IEM Shanghai.
I really love the crowd as when INO was going up against Maru. Just everybody that walked by actually stopped to watch these games.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a lot of them were mobile players. They're like, damn, the red team is doing a really good job controlling all these units. It's like, oh my god, it's only one guy? That's amazing.
It's an MMO, There's 300 Marine players on each side, and there's all of these Protoss ones over here now.
Where are all these PCs?
It's actually been a lot of fun. Always love having the Chinese audience down here, and a little bit frustrating for herO to have a bit of a pause at this moment. Just being updated on exactly what the situation is by our lovely admin there. And and this is one of these interesting spots where the Protoss is getting closer to completing that army, getting all the pieces together. He's not quite there yet, needs to buy a little bit of time.
Don't forget that the winner of this series will advance to the quarterfinals, and they will go up against either Innovation or TY or...
ISO?
No, Rogue.
Rogue took first, yes. Yeah.
So...
That is correct.
I think, for herO, I mean, that's going to be very tough regardless whether he makes it or not. For Arsola, you can say the same. I mean, that's just scary, right? You hear these two Terrans, you're like, oh my god, TY or INO. And Rogue, I mean, you're a big fan of Rogue, and you say that he's been absolutely on fire lately. So the quarterfinals is going to be tough regardless, but everybody wants to make it to the playoffs. I think both players are ready to continue this game. Once again, first game of this deciding best of 3 of Group C. It's not over yet for herO, but he needs to buy a little bit more time, but he's doing a good job with that War Prism.
All right, we are back into game now. Both of these players playing for that Intel Extreme Masters trophy there. And unfortunately, no, we have had to just pause it again quickly. Issues are continuing, no worries. Guys, sorry about that one.
No, you got me all hyped up that pick. I was like,
it was starting.
I was like, oh my god, pick, are we continuing now? I know.
Yeah, it immediately paused basically as soon as it unpaused. So
obviously, this is a big moment as well. We don't want to rush the players and playing whenever there is something wrong with their settings.
Favorite hairstyle, Roddy? Left or the right there? The blonde or the gray? Which one?
Left, of course, mate.
Left? Yeah. Okay, I kind of like the white gray kind of hair. I reckon I'd rock that.
I love the dirty blonde.
That guy has a witch's hat. That's awesome. He's a witcher.
Maybe he's part of something we're not aware of, Pig.
Yeah, some sort of guild. Actually, there's quite a few people with those hats around.
Seen a lot of very cool costumes as well. In the past, we took funny pictures. I think Apollo 1 year, maybe 2 years ago in Shenzhen, Apollo and I went around the convention and we just asked everybody for pictures. And there were 2 girls that were dressed up as like bridesmaids, and then I went on my knees and asked. And there were like 20 people standing around us, and they were all clapping. They're like, woo! Apollo was loving it. It's good times.
It's always a lot of fun down here. I mean, China Joy is actually massive as well. Of course, we don't get to show too much of it here on stream, pretty much just our area, but I think only Gamescom is probably the only event I've been to that can really rival this one in terms of sheer size. There are just so many people down here.
I think this is quite a bit. I mean, Gamescom is massive as well, but I think this entire venue has more halls than the mess.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I mean, the mess in Deutsch or Cologne is incredibly big. But you can land an airplane in the middle of this field, which is in between all these massive convention halls. It's always fun to get here, except in the mornings when we wait outside and it's 112 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. With 90% humidity as well. Yeah. But we love being down here because the food's great, the people are great. Looking forward to going and getting some nice hot pot later tonight with you, Kevin, and enjoying a bit of the culture outside of the.
I already had a little bit of a tour the first night that we arrived here with Wardy and Artosis. We went into town, and Wax Angel as well.
No Mr. Bitter adventures, I hope? No one got kidnapped?
No, none of that happened. We just had a good time. We saw a lot of Shanghai, the beautiful city. a couple of old, kind of like the old parts of town. And then
Yeah,
went
there's
to,
actually
like,
a
some
really
new-
beautiful part of the city down there, right?
I went to newer districts as well, and then we ended up on a little bicycle, the 5 of us. Like, it was great, It's like, woohoo, holiday. And then a day later, it's like, all right, we have rehearsals with Apollo. It's back to business. Get ready for the tournament. But I've been having a ball so far. The first 2 days have been awesome. Like, I can absolutely recommend 4 or 5 games that I've seen so far to anybody that wants to watch some StarCraft, and that's great. Loving it, Pig.
Great job, cameraman. Catches the girl eating the Pringle right as it goes in, and then awkwardly zooms in on her face while she's chewing. That's what we're here for. I mean, really, that is what we like to do with audiences in esports, is find people when they're doing something slightly awkward and then zoom in on their face and hold it as long as possible.
And I've also heard that whenever there's some serious zooming on some ladies in the audience, it's actually Kalaras controlling the camera.
Yeah, that's his influence on the production. Wanted to raise the bar here. All right, guys, so we are still fixing up those technical issues. We're just going to go to a very quick break before resuming herO versus Solar.
Alrighty, apologize for that inconvenience, but I believe we are good to continue the deciding series of Group C between Solar and herO. Score is still 0-0, but Solar is looking to apply some serious pressure on herO.
Those charge lot warpins at the back, very important. herO desperate to buy a little bit of time. His Phoenix Scouts are getting sniped down. His Warp Prism in the back is about to unload. I don't think the Queens are in position. A charge lot counter-attack there as well. The Queens and Spores caught off guard. Great warping in the back from herO. Anything he can do to buy time to pull Solar back is so good for him right now. But the Warp Prism gets sniped. Great focus fire from Solar. And now Solar is going to focus all of his attention back on the front. Is herO going to have enough Archons, enough Storm to be ready for this?
This is really nice though. Just a few more Zealots. Let it go on for another 20-30 seconds. Look how confident herO is during all of this, by the way. He's throwing down a fleet beacon. Probably wants to go up to that big mothership. I think Solar's had more than enough of dealing with these Zealots. There's a good chance he might even ignore those or just leave a few units behind. But how high is this High Templar count? That's pretty juicy.
Wow.
Quite a few storms available as well. And look at that amount of Immortals. herO has done an awesome job in buying a silly amount of time for himself. And Solar is somehow going to have to get close to these High Templars.
Look at that Storm energy, Roddy. There is so many Storms saved up on these High Templar. These Archons and Immortals creating a nice meat shield up front. So many Banelings crashing in, but a last-second force field protects the Zealots and the High Templar in the back. All of the Archons have gone down. That Solar has just expended so much supply, and he has not gotten into the juicy High Templar. They are still protected in the back. They are still safe.
Yep, and it's also not like Solar's got an infestation pit with a hive on the way, Great Aspire halfway done, so that this wasn't that important. No, this was very, very important for Solar, and he simply didn't get the damage done. What is the High Templar doing in the front? Wait,
Oh man,
herO,
charge
you're a
off the High
madman.
Templar, a little bit missed micro there. Those High Templar though coming forward, catching the
It doesn't
Banelings, morphing.
matter.
Solar just does not have the numbers. herO somehow bought himself enough time.
And the double morph there as well. A couple of very low HTs in the front. They drop storms, had no more energy, morphs them into High Templars. And the march of the Immortal is a march you just don't stop. Unless you like maxed out on Hydra, you got Infestus, but none of those things is on the map for Solar right now. And herO takes game number 1.
Dude, herO is so good. He's been praying a corn right now. He's been worshipping the Chaos Gods because in these down and dirty, messy games, he is so good at finding a way back into it. Even in a game like that where his aggression, let's face it, fell flat on his face. He did pretty much nothing, but his follow-up usage of the Warp Prism, and there was like, what, Charge Lots going down the left-hand side, 2 Charge Lot counters spaced apart on the right-hand side combined with the Warp Prism. He bought like 2 minutes of extra time there.
I really think that there's one point where Solar should have left maybe 7, 8, 9 units at home. You have the Queens as well. And everything else, you send it to the other side of the map. You keep a close eye. Where is that 4th base? Because the 3-base Protoss, of course, you can do a lot of stuff with 3-base Protoss. But you can't remake High Templars over and over again. You can't pump out like double Immortal production from a robotics facility while also being active with your harass. I think Solar let herO go too easily up to 4 bases. And after that, he was just chasing Warp Prisms and Zealots around for way too long, that by the time he finally made the push that he really wanted to make, it wasn't 3 or 4 Immortals. No, it was like 7, 8 Immortals, and at least 8 Storms as well.
I got to agree with you, Roddy. I think a little bit of maybe lacking flexibility from Solar there. If we think about it, you're on about 69 workers. He's not up at that 80, 85 drones where you can sit back and play passive. So he clearly wants to be aggressive, yet to be pulled back time and time again, we show he wasn't ready for the Warp Prism. We see a lot of other Zergs, they've always got a few Hydras and Lings and Banes sitting at home. He never had that ready. And so multiple times he had to pull his whole army back, gave up that window to attack, and rather than droning and trying to play a longer game, he still tried to headbutt into the Storm, got absolutely massacred. Perfect hold by herO.
Yep, would love to talk a little more about game number 1, but we're already loading into game 2, Ascension to Ire. And tournament life is on the line for this man, representing Splice. So far, they've had 1 player advance to the quarters. One of them got eliminated. Is it going to be 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3? It's all on the shoulders of Solar.
And what a broad set of shoulders they are.
Are they?
Yes, his opponent down here, though, the Smiling Assassin, much more nimble, more of a lead character. In the blue, the Protoss player, representing Root, it is herO.
What I love about herO is that he's always so happy. Like, Solar is a very happy guy, too. But herO, he walks past you, and he will always smile. Like, the day that herO doesn't smile at me, I'd get a little worried. It's like, oh my God, something is seriously wrong. You know, there is one thing, though, that I also want to mention about that first game, is that herO did an excellent job, as soon as he had some upgrades on his Zealots, to make sure that his Zealots were always in a line, right? So Zerglings did not get the surface area they need. Because often the Lings have +2 already, while the Zealots still work with +1, with the way that like things open up and stuff. Or even if it's even, it doesn't really matter if, you know, The Zerglings are very effective, especially if there's a couple of queens. But these Zealots were never in a ball. They were never, like, you know, apart from each other. They were real bros, like basically standing hand in hand there, making
like 300 man.
Exactly.
In the phalanx.
And that makes it so hard for Lynx, because then you're going to have only 2 Lynx at a time fighting these Zealots. And that made it so much harder for Solar to really take care of all these Zealot run-bys and Zealot warp-ins. And that's one of these small things, but very well done by herO. Excellent positioning on his units that he warped in behind enemy lines.
And of course, he did take that first game, so herO only needs 1 more to close this out against Solar. This is the final deciding match here of this group. Group number C, group letter C, I should say. And yeah, I mean, whoever doesn't win here goes out. So Solar, he needs to win 2 in a row or he will be ending his IEM Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai streak right here in the round of 16. Winner will be going through to the quarterfinals tomorrow.
And are we going to have 1 Protoss after all? As obviously Seth did not make it yesterday, and today we saw Trustball in Group D. Can't blame Trust for that one, as Group D was just ridiculous. But herO is the last Protoss hope of this tournament, as he's being annoying over here.
He's gonna drop another one, 100%.
100%?
Yeah. herO always prioritizes annoying his opponent over everything else. Like, he is a player who like knows the power of throwing his opponent off the game, tilting them. Look at this. Adept joins up here, says nah, and is even going to come and pick off the Zergling, just being very annoying. He's forced Solar into taking the 3rd base, which he wasn't too keen on taking. And this Adept just being very annoying.
Queens are going to work on it as well. That is going to take a little bit of damage, but it will live for now. Oracle's already on the way, very fast Oracle, as we have Overlord speed and Zergling speed going down for Solar. This is obviously a great map for Drop-a-Lord play, whether it's just 8 Zerglings early on. You know, early on, I believe they played on this map as well, and like 8 to 10 Lynx were dropped in the right bottom side of herO's base as well, basically with this kind of Overlord. But back then, Solar often positions his Zerglings like very near a pylon, and then if the probes surround it while Overcharge goes down, you lose all 8 probes. You got to make it a little harder for herO to defend that, you know. Make him question himself, should I drop an Overcharge now or not? Can I trap these Lynx, yes or no? Because I love that type of play. I just think Solar could have got more value out of his drops.
Got to agree with that one. It's always a shame when you see those 8 Zerglings just get defeated by workers in a single spell. Oracle is going to get deflected. Solar on point here. Spores already finished and Queens in position. Very nice. Of course, herO does have a very fast 3rd Nexus behind this, so he doesn't really need to get damage done with this Oracle as long as he keeps it alive, and he hasn't really taken any hull damage just yet. Only the shields going away, which will regenerate. But Solar actually doing a very good job of continuing to throw needles into that Oracle, slowing down its regen. So that Oracle is kind of just going to have to chill for the next minute or 2 before it gets a chance to come on in there.
Yeah, as long as you keep it alive, right? As long as you don't go too crazy trying to drop 1 stasis and suddenly end up losing it, because that is just deadly. There is a Drop-a-Lord. Let's take a look where it is. Is it right top side? All the way in the left bottom. Jeez, that's far away. He's very keen. The Oracle is going to swing in there, but with a couple of Phoenixes, he will get a few drones, but that is about it. Interesting maneuver here by herO. This is one of these things that could work out brilliantly if there's only 2 queens there, or maybe 3 queens, but that wasn't the case. Solar was ready for that. Good job by Solar defending this kind of awkward harass attempt by herO.
Interesting to build 2 Phoenixes. I mean, I've seen a lot of players do this with 2 Oracles and 1 Phoenix, where the Phoenix goes into tank, disables the Queen, kills some drones, run away. But yeah, 2 Phoenix, I guess this is going to allow him to shut down drops extra hard, so that is something. But a very odd choice from herO so far. And behind this, he's going to be going for +1. He's already got an Observer on the way. Knowing herO, we know exactly what's going to come up next. It's going to be a Warp Prism. And if it was anyone else, I'd say Charge. But since it's him, I think we're probably just going to see Glaives. The same thing he does in pretty much every matchup, every game.
Loves it, loves it. We'll see that Drop-a-Lord is heading towards the main of herO. Let's take a look at the pylon positioning in the main base of herO. So there's he's very greedy with pylons. I noticed that earlier today. Solar should never send all 8 Zerglings near. Okay, that is like a much better pylon, but there is a chance that it's not going to be done in time. This time it is charged, by the way, though. So this time
Templar Archive super early as well, so very different play style.
Yeah, I like this. I think this makes a little more sense. Double Robo now as well. Let's see if these Lynx can get anything done. He's not going to wait to morph them perhaps into Banelings. He's just going to run in, and this is where you want to keep your Lynx. A little bit more perhaps on the left, but you don't want to go much deeper than that, because if the Mothership Core shows up, Overcharge, another Link run by as well. This is well done by Solar.
Wow, very nicely done there by Solar. Just a cute 1-2 punch. Pulls the Mothership Core towards the main, jumps on the 3rd, does a bit of damage there. will get shut down, but 12 probes, well worth it for Solar.
Yep, and a lot of lost mining time there too. Observer is being brought back home. Did he just press F2, or was that a mistake?
I think that was an F2 for sure, man.
I think it's an F2.
That's a panic F2.
If there is a random observer suddenly coming back, you know, he's definitely not worried about some burrowed stuff, as he has the Mothership Core and the Oracle in the same place as well. Sir, you've been found guilty. Pressing the F2 key.
You know, it's really important that Solar did that because he also spotted the Templar Archive, so he knows now that herO is just rushing up to Storm and Immortal. So he's like, okay, cool, we're going to the Hydraling Bane, versing the Storm Immortal Archon. But the thing is, herO was going for this very greedily, and I feel like if he didn't lose those probes, didn't lose that mining time, he'd already have like 4 or 5 High Templar up with Storm almost finished. Yep. As it is, he's only got a couple of High Templar gathering energy, and everything's just being slowed down a bit, and the supply gap, it kind of tells the story. A bit of a scary lead for Solar.
Yep, Warp Prism is being pushed away as well before it can warp in any Zealot. So far, Solar is on top of pretty much everything. There is a Dropper Lord on the right top side with 4 Banelings inside of it as well. Baneling speed is about to finish up. I'm not sure if he's going to wait for +2 or not. But you gotta love the way that Solar has played Ascension to IS so far. Just, it seems solid. I love the fact when he finally went for his first harass, that wasn't the only thing he did. He also ran those links into the third base and getting 12, 13 probes. That is a very, very respectable amount. Storming this Dropper Lord. Ooh, the High Templar is a little bit exposed. But in the end, these Banelings don't really get much done. Interesting use of Storm, but...
Yeah, I mean, if you've got only 2 sentries that shoot up, I guess you kind of need to do that to force its hit points down, but not something we see every day. And once again, we're in a similar position to last game. herO trying to hang on to a 4th base way down in supply, but he's got Storm, he's got Immortals coming out 2 at a time. He's about to start adding Archons into the mix. herO, if he's left alone for much longer, his army's going to get very scary. And look at the drone count. Solar, yeah, he's ahead a little bit, but he's not up at a massive 85 drone count. He cannot just throw units away. He has to be very efficient with the next couple of fights.
Well, 22 Banelings. I'm not sure if it qualifies as so many, but it is at least quite a few Banelings, and he already had quite a few as well. So there's a good chance. High Templars, good Storm there though on the north side.
Yeah.
A couple of High Templars were trapped, but magically, somehow, some way, herO keeps all of them alive. That was really
One
not
on full
supposed to
energy
happen.
did actually go down, I think, in that mineral line.
Okay.
So nice pickup for Solar. I think to start things off. He's got 21 Hydras. It's not a massive Hydra count. It's mostly Ling Bane here.
Lost a lot of Banes there though. I mean, he went back all the way to like 7 or 8 Banes. Now he's back at 18. He's going to morph a few more. That is quite a few Immortals in the front.
Oh, great
Storm.
move. herO just going out there, because look at this, Solar's trying to rotate, and herO is going to struggle to defend 2 locations at once, but if he can just wrap around from behind, oh man, the cannon's doing their work, the army coming up here. Solar's going to jump on it, Roddy.
Yeah, but it's a lot of Immortals still, quite a few Storms available. 1 Archon does fall. It looks tricky for herO, but I like his defense so far. To me, it's a little bit awkward that Solar wants to outmaneuver him while half his army is revealed by Revelation. It's like herO can actually see you, and herO is just going to pick up where you are the weakest, because there's always a couple of units that were exposed there for our Zerg player.
Oh, Baneling's going to roll on in. Cannon's going down. The probes are already running. Oh, looks like the Banelings find them. 13 probes go down. Units attacking the 3rd base at the same time. The 4th base looking like it might go down. I think Solar's found the weak point right now.
Yep, herO left a few too many units actually at his 3rd base. He expected there to be way more, but pretty much everything that Solar had was being thrown at this fort. Because if you look at that other army, this is what he left behind. 2 Archons, 4 Immortals, Zealots in Storm. He might actually get a couple of Hydras. I still don't think it's disastrous unless Solar throws down an Infestation Pit right now and goes up to Greatest Fire. Whoa, a couple of High Templars left exposed. One goes down, second goes down.
Nice pick up there.
Go back, herO. You can't... This is a mistake that a lot of Protoss players make. They're like, oh, I lost my 4th base. You know what I should do? Run across the map on creep and win, but that often doesn't help.
He doesn't have much information right now. He might be worried about Broodlords joining the map, but that's actually not the case. Solar is just going mass Hydraling Bane. The numbers are way in the Zerg's favor right now. There's just no Storm left. Archons and Immortals in a fall, but they are getting surrounded. The Hydraling Bane is relentless. You called it, Roddy. This attack is not working out for herO.
No, but it's mostly the Zerglings that cause a lot of troubles now. A couple of Zealots do come in from the left side, but Immortals are fantastic. I like this Warp Prism micro though. Let's see how many of these Immortals he can keep alive. He's saving quite a few of them. Snipes a random Baneling on the way. If he can survive with 7 Immortals, which somehow happens because there are Zealots distracting Solar, it was bad for herO, but it could have been absolutely game over. Ooh,
Ooh, that would be a very nice pick up there for Solar. Does snap the back of that Warp Prism. It goes down. That takes away herO's ability to put pressure on Solar. And that has been the difference this game from the last one. On Blood Boil, herO was constantly doing damage with Charge Lock counterattacks. This time now, he's got nothing. It's all about his Death Ball. Immortals and Storm, the count is growing. That's a lot of Storm. But there's nothing else supporting it. There's no Zealots or anything in here, so this is still a bit of a weird army.
He's going Storm Immortal, Big. That's what it is. He's got 11 High Templars, a couple of units coming in from the south side as well. Solar is going to be, I think, quite surprised with the amount of storms, but there is nothing protecting these High Templars.
Yeah. Needs some Archons in there or something. He's used up almost all of his Storms now. In fact, he has used them all up. He is out of Storms. It's just Immortals and Archons. Charizard's trying to warp in, but the Banelings are there.
Oh,
the High Templar goes down. Impressive attack here from Solar. And it looks like he will be able to take map number 2. herO trying valiantly to micro these units, but in the end, it's not going to be enough.
No, but I think these Hydras are going to be a little too much to deal with. As all the High Templars are gone, he has 11 before this fight started. No more Storms, and last Immortal is going to get surrounded as well. And herO has to be kicking himself a little bit because he didn't have to run across the map. Solar is not transitioning. Solar never went into Hive. There was no threat of Broodlords. But obviously that's something that herO did not know.
Yeah.
He ran across the map and he paid a very high price.
It was actually one of those situations where, as you said, you know, without the Broodlords coming in, yes, he lost a base, he lost some probes, but he didn't really lose any army units. And there's this weird situation that happens where Zerg can trade against your economy all day. If the Protoss still ends up maxing out with a sick army with lots of Storm, Archons, and Immortals, if the Zerg only has Hydra Baneling, it is very hard to defend against that. So definitely a potential ability to change that up, but I think it all comes down to the fact that he didn't have the vision. He didn't see what was going on, and he didn't have a Warp Prism over there because herO was just so stuck in his corner of the map, he didn't have the information to make the correct decision there.
Yep, and it's not like his army was small, by the way. You know, if a Protoss is losing a base and they lost a bunch of units and they feel like maybe I should just go right now, sometimes you can understand that, right? It's like 130 supply. It's going to take them forever to max out. But herO was actually cruising around like 155 when he ran across the map. Obviously, he had a couple of awkward Hydras. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or like a misrally by Solar, but at one point Solar was like, well, maybe I can use these Hydras to snipe High Templars, and he did. I think he got 2 of them.
Yeah.
herO just went across the map in a phase of the game where he really shouldn't. And I think even more interesting to look at, obviously, you know, we see everything and we can analyze it, but what herO did earlier is so perfect is that he left the right amount of units at each base. One time he clearly left too many units at the third, which allowed him to lose his fourth base, while all that Solar was sending towards the third base was like 8 to 10 Zerglings, maybe 2 Banelings, nothing else. And he heavily overcommitted there with the 4 Immortals, 2 Archons, and Zealots. If those units were at the fourth base, I think herO doesn't even lose that base.
Absolutely. Looked very strong with much more macro-focused play there, did the Protoss player. We are going to be going on into map number 3. Both players 1 map apiece. Up here in the top left-hand side, representing Root, it is herO.
Odyssey, the final map of this best of 3 to determine if it's going to be herO or this man who spawns on the right bottom side, representing Splice. It's Solar. To advance to the quarterfinals, Big.
Oh, yeah. He's been looking very good with his defense this series so far, not really taking much damage at all from herO's early pressure. I was pretty surprised he actually dropped the first map. I very easily could have seen this going to 0 to Solar, but now here on Odyssey, it is going to be a little bit more wide open map, a little bit more aggressive. More angles for counterattacks to come through from both sides. It's going to be a very movement-focused game if we get to that late mid-game.
I'd love to see a different type of build here. Maybe some of the builds in like a play like DNS has shown us at Home Story Cup, where you just rush out a +1. And Hearthstone has done that as well. You're pretending you open up with an Archon drop.
The what are they? There's like a silly nickname for it, right? The charge lot +1 build, yeah?
Well, yeah, Drogo called it the Cool Kids build.
The Cool Kids build, yeah. That's it.
I don't know. Drogo has a lot of weird names for builds, but I think stuff like that is very cool. We saw Neep have a very cool build as well at Jon Chopping against sort of on this map.
Yeah.
Where he also pretended he opened up with an Archon drop, and then suddenly it's like 6-gate adept with Glaze behind it. I'd love to see something like that, because I have the feeling if herO tries to play the exact same game, it's very hard, I think, to pull off an Odyssey.
Of course, we are going to see the gold base come into play later on. Big point of contention in this matchup. It's going to be something Solar's going to be aiming for. herO's going to be aiming to deny, or at least kind of find a way to make its impact less on the game. It does exhaust itself very quickly though, so there is only a short power spike associated with that base in terms of the boost in mineral mining.
How do you feel, by the way, about Solar, like his, you know, his game plan to just kind of stay on layer attack throughout the entirety of the game, no matter if he has 4 or 5 bases, no matter if he's trading or not trading. He really seems to have no plans at all to go into high.
I think that comes down to his opponent, right? If you think about herO, classically, herO all-ins almost every single game. At most, he goes to 65 probes and then he attacks you, you know? I feel like you very rarely have the onus on you to go to tier 3 simply because of the way herO plays. So herO, though, looked a bit more macro-centric last game than what he normally does. So who knows, maybe this time around Solar says, oh, wait a second, I got to respect you a bit more. Maybe I do need to go to that high tech.
Even on Blood Boil, I think it was quite macro-oriented by herO, even though it was like different phases of aggression, where obviously you know, you could see it was a herO game, because he opens up with a little bit of harass, then more harass, and even more harass with a prism, and then eventually it still turns into a normal game. Now we do have a robotics facility and a Twilight, so it seems like there could very well be a Dark Shrine.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're going to keep our eyes wide open to see if it's going to be more than just a Dark Shrine, if it's going to be more than just a couple of Archons.
I feel like that's just the build we see every game on this map, because there is no dead space behind the bases. Oracle's not as effective here. A lot of players preferring to go Archon drop as it's the most flexible opening. You can both defend a lot of all-ins and attacks, you can put on pressure in a very balanced way without overextending, and it transitions into some sick all-ins.
This is actually quite bad, I think. I love this by Solar. He's using this Overlord with speed to pull the Stalker out of position. What did he just cancel?
I think he just cancelled a gateway because the Overlord was going to spot it?
Okay, that's possible as well, but what he doesn't know, he's chasing an Overlord that is not revealing this link drop. Punisher 4 is in production now. It's actually being produced in the main, but this is still annoying though. He's going to lose quite a few workers here already.
That's actually so many probes that are about to fall. Good drilling to try and save them. Oh, man. That's a lot of damage there. 7 workers going down. Worker count very similar on both sides still. So herO has been doing a good job of probing up. And in fact, I think it was his Robo which he cancelled because...
No way.
The Robo's, yeah, it's just finishing up now. Yeah, it's mega late. He cancelled his Robo. That's a massive... It's got to be a mistake. There's no way to... There's no reason to be secretive with this build.
Yeah, he lost 20... He canceled one really. He lost 25 gas.
That would be heartbreaking if that was the mistake, which potentially could lose herO this series. You can see he's going for a 3rd base now. He's only now starting that Warp Prism. His DT Shrine's done. Is he just going to warp in DTs at home and walk them across the map? I mean, it might be the right idea with how delayed that Prism is.
8 more Zerglings showing up in the main base as well. This time Overcharge is very fast, but I like what Solar does here. Run away from the circle, don't stick around. Instead, try to fight it in the natural, more lost mining time, gets at least 1 probe, and should at least get 1 more, if not 2 more.
So much damage. I'm feeling like Owen Wilson right now because I cannot stop saying wow at everything Solar's doing. He is just choosing all the right moves. Small pokes here and there, finding big damage. He's got melee on the way. He's got more and more drones. He's got a massive Zerglings.
That Overlord is being ridiculous this game, by the way. 8
he's just
more
doing
links.
it again, and there's still nothing in position to stop it. That Stalker is not quite watching it. It's too far north. It's not going to spot it.
And he probably doesn't even have gateways on cooldown, right? Because he just wiped in Dark Templar, so there's a chance he can't even wipe in units immediately. Stalker could get surrounded here. 1 Dark Templar is going to make his life a little bit easier. What is that? I think a couple of Zealots. Still, the Stalker gets picked up. 2 Archons will start being annoying on the other side of the map.
3rd base.
Yeah, now obviously we do need to make an argument here that Solar has been producing a lot of links. Now don't get me wrong, I think he's been doing great work with them, but it's a lot of Zerglings that he produced throughout this game.
A lot of momentum on Solar's side, but his economy not actually any larger than herO's right now, which is interesting considering he has killed a total of 11 workers already. And that plus the lost mining time, I mean, definitely something where Solar just looks like he wants to keep that momentum going. A Baneling is actually morphing inside herO's main base right now.
A single Baneling. It's like, I've got a dream. I'm going to hurt so many of these pros. He actually might get 1 kill with
2 of them, actually. 2? A couple of them are bros, yeah. Oh, man, and Zergling's going to drop as well.
Oh, my God. This could be very rough because herO is still occupied with his Archons on the other side of the map. If those Zerglings find their way into the main mineral line of herO, he's going to lose a lot of pros very quickly. Pick up the Archons. He does. Look at his shields, they regenerate fast.
Yeah, luckily only loses a couple more probes there, but herO, I mean, he's on the back foot. He's making more and more Archons and Immortals. He's making charge and +1. He's trying to make something happen here, but check out that work count. Solar's finding a way to boost that economy much higher now. He's starting to work his way into a solid lead. His Hydra Tech is almost up. And
If
herO
we-
does not have Storm anywhere on the radar. I think he's just going to have to go for a huge Immortal Archon push.
That could be possible as well, but 57 or 60 right now without having the gold, it's not disastrous for herO, I feel.
Oh, he's going to push right now as well. Maybe he'll have a window here. He's up in army supply. Hydra's and Ling Bane only just starting to come out now. We've got 4 Archons against mostly Ling Bane. I mean, Queens and Ling
Oh my
Bane
God.
are not good against Archons. This is a really scary push.
Yep, Solar is not ready for it. Is Bailing's speed done? No, those Bailings are not rolling yet, so that is a pretty bad sign as well. We do have one Bailing in the main. It's going to kill a few more workers with these Zerglings here as well. But is there an answer against 2 Immortals and 5 Archons?
I don't know if there is. herO, he is doing so much damage here. He's got that Warp Prism. He's going to be able to warp in more and more Charge Lots and Archons on the front. Those Queens trying to transfuse as hard as they can, actually managing to batter down a lot of these Archons. But more are coming in, and Solar's supply down in the dumps. He just committed to so much Ling Bane this game. Even though he was doing damage, herO finds this one sweet spot with this attack. Immortal Archon drives it home, and herO will be our one Protoss player advancing to the top 8 of the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai.
Ayer is so incredibly proud of this young man right now as he does it. He is the runner-up of this pretty damn tough Group C, which also had Time Solar, and of course the winner of the group, which we saw earlier, which was Su. herO does it. Awesome game, awesome series. This game is like the most typical Solar versus herO game you can imagine. Like 8 minutes in, like 120 Lings died, 50 probes died, but despite the fact that like 50 workers died, herO still has 50 additional workers. And I mean, Solar was doing good work up to one point where I'm like, he's actually not that far ahead, and worker-wise it's even. This could get problematic. But wow, what a game, what a series, and congratulations to Roots herO, as he is the only Protoss to advance. We're gonna head over to a very small break, and after that we'll be back with a few words of the man himself who made Ayer proud.
Now wrapping up the Group C and advancing to tomorrow's round of 8 is Root Gaming herO. I almost say CJ enters herO. Alright, 일단 김주호 선수 진출하게 된 거 축하드립니다. 일단 저랑 아까 뒤에서 그렇고 오늘 하루 종일 그랬고 못 이긴다. 오늘 나는 올라갈 수가 없다. 라는 말씀을 계속 하셨는데 어떻게 이기게 됐네요. All day today and yesterday, all herO said was, there's no way I can advance, there's no way I can beat Solar, and but that's what he did.
일단 저그전이 자신 없는 것도 있었고 민수랑 첫 경기에서 했잖아요. 근데 제가 다 이긴 경기를 끌고 가는 거 보고 진짜 병 느꼈거든요, 첫 경기에. 그래가지고 1경기에 트라우마가 남아가지고 최종전에서 사실은 윤수를 만나면 좋겠다 이런 생각까지 했었는데, 근데 좀 다른 식으로 저만의 플레이로 그냥 풀어갔던 게 잘 먹혔던 것 같아요.
You know, when I met him in the first round today, the first game I thought I had it. I thought I was actually very, very far ahead. But I saw Solar clinch back, climb back, and take me down. I really was, like, I don't know. It just threw me off completely. I didn't have any confidence whatsoever. But second time around, I was just gonna be like, you know, I'm gonna be myself, just play out whatever, and I guess it worked out a little better. And to be honest, I was hoping Sue to lose or meet me in the decider match or the winner's match or whatever, because I think it would have been a lot more comfortable. 자, 어윤수 선수한테 도발을 하셨는데.
도발까지는 아닌데.
A little taunt to Sue.
도발까지는 아닌데 그냥 뭔가 트라우마가 생겨서 민수보단 괜찮을 것 같아요. 왜냐면 한번 진 사람한테는 주눅이 들어있잖아요, 제가. 그래서 제 플레이가 안 나올 가능성이 있어서 윤수랑 하고 싶었는데 결과론적으로는 민수가 좋았죠.
It wasn't so much a taunt that because I already lost to Solar, you know, when you lose to a player in the middle of a tournament, you get to face him again. It's not a greatest feeling, and it doesn't give you the confidence at all. So that's what I meant by, you know, I would have rather faced Sue than Solar. 근데 이게 다이가 But herO, you won. What the heck?
Yeah. 진짜 너무 좋네요. 그러니까 IEM에서 더 잘하고 싶은 고향 같은 느낌이 있어서 IEM만 오면은 더 잘하고 싶은 느낌이 강해요. 근데 이렇게 우여곡절 끝에 올라가게 돼서 너무 기쁘고 8강부터는 이제 원래 제 IEM에서의 포스를 보여드리도록 할 테니까 많이 응원해 주세요.
You know, IEM really feels like home to me. I've had such great memories. Hold on, let me interrupt there for a second. Such good memories, you say. 근데 김유진 선수한테 빅가한테 한번 털리셨는데 좋은 기억이 있으시다고요. You're still telling me that you had so much good memories in IEM, yet you lost the big round finals to SOS.
그 메모리는 딜리트 됐고요. 이제 새로운 메모리를 채워 나가려고 하고 있습니다.
You know, out of all the IEMs I went to, that one doesn't ring a bell to me. It's already gone out of my head. I'm gonna make new memories starting with IEM Shanghai 2017. Alright, 그럼 마지막으로 IEM 프린스로 다시 복귀를 하겠다는 각오의 한마디 팬들한테 한번 해주시죠. So last words to the fans as a return of IEM Prince.
I'll be back.
Alright, thank you very much, herO. Now back to you, casters.
Thanks, pal. All right. I thought that herO was going to lose that last game there. I mean, I thought he was going to back down from the fight.
Did you? Triggered him. Come on. Oh, no, fine. I'm glad that herO...
There's nothing that he wouldn't do after all that he's been through.
You really put in the effort there. I'm impressed.
That was good. That was good.
I'm really glad that herO came into this series with a bit more of a stable Protoss approach, like actually hard Immortal Archon, Storm, and actually found himself some spots in that series. It all didn't go completely his way, but at least he showed that the potential of the prevalence of his position in this tournament can be stable going into the round of 8.
Yeah, I like much better execution, you know, especially with the Prism. That last game bought him a lot of time up until the point he got Storm, and this is the kind of herO that you usually expect will show up. A little bit shocked that we lose Solar in those group stages, though. That's really sad. And herO, he entered this tournament in the 8th place in the WCS Korea standings. He's currently tied in this for the 6th place with Dark. Yeah. And both of them advanced to the round of 8.
Oh, my God.
They both advanced as second, though, so they can't meet for a grudge match. But maybe later, maybe semifinals or finals.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And we will get that bracket at the end of the day and see who's playing who. But we have another match coming up. The last of the night. We're going to have another great player falling. Maru and Byun go up against each other next.
Yeah, and the amount of great TVT that we've seen in that group so far has been phenomenal. So I'm expecting no less from those guys. I think that Maru might end up being the aggressor once again against Byun, because when he was doing that in the previous series, he looked very, very powerful. So I'd be expecting more of that.
You know what really does justice to all these high-level games and TVTs, like in particular?
What?
Okay, not just DX Masters hosting, Mal's interview, and your hosting, and like the talents, but the first-person view feature.
Oh, my God.
I think one of the best things about this tournament, every time we tune into those TVTs, is like, are we all seeing this? Like, you know, It's absolute insanity. I'm loving it, really.
Yeah, haven't been seeing those Protoss first persons, have we? Just sitting there.
Here comes the attack move. Oh, he's storming.
But you're very right. Like, we have really kind of needed that back in StarCraft for a while to just kind of show off just how quick our pro gamers are, quicker than your pro gamers. So, you know, Maru versus Beyond next. Hopefully, we will see a lot of that as well. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with that match.
No, we won't